Hi everybody, my name is Amanda, and here I am on my bedroom floor filming my first video because I don't have my filming room ready. Surprise, surprise, if you know me. The whole purpose of this channel is for me to try to encourage others who have cancer and tell my story. I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma in October, and it was suspected in September. It was a really scary time because I got diagnosed during the pandemic, and going through cancer treatment during the pandemic was probably the most terrifying thing that I've ever done. There was a time where people were allowed to go through my treatments with me and sit with me, and I wasn't alone. But then we had a spike again, and now I have to go through everything alone. So what I'm going to do on this channel is do my makeup, because all of my friends tell me I'm great at makeup, but I think I'm okay, and talk. I will tell you guys everything I'm using. I will list my products in the description box, and hopefully I can inspire other people to tell their stories and give everybody a little bit of hope. Now, I did lose all my hair, hence why I'm wearing a beanie, but I had to have a wig. I'll put that on at the end to do my finished look. My eyebrows are microbladed. That's why they're still here. I'm gonna get a little close real quick. So a lot of this is microblading, but there is still some hair. My eyelashes have kind of gone. They're a little bit there, but mainly not. So I am going to be putting false lashes on. I really like the magnetic lashes because they're just much easier to put on. I struggle with glue. One key that I have learned since cancer is moisture. One thing I do like to do is I like the whole idea of these mists now. And I really like e.l.f. e.l.f. is just a really affordable brand that is decent quality for its use. So I have this e.l.f. oil control primer mist that I'll use. This is my whole e.l.f. bag, by the way. I love this bag. I have so much fun stuff in it. Except for my Laura Geller palette. So first, moisturize. And use a primer spray. All over. But I do use a primer too. I have been loving the e.l.f. Matte Putty Primer for pores. So basically, it's just a putty. You take a little bit and you put it in your problem areas. I have a mirror behind me, so that's why I'm looking. So I like my pores are, you know, bad here. And bad here. And it's not dry anywhere else, so, you know, fan it. So let's talk about the C word. How I was diagnosed. I had a bump right here where my scar is that I let go for months. I didn't think anything of it. I thought I pulled a muscle because I was having a little bit of pain there, but it really didn't bug me. So I let it go. But then I was at work one night. I work as a dispatcher, basically. My title's different, but we're just gonna call me the dispatcher. I take incoming and outgoing ambulance calls. I set up incoming and outgoing ambulance calls or ambulance transports for people leaving the hospital, and people who are, coming into the hospital, I take the call from the ambulance crew. So I was at work one night. It was nearing the end of my shift, but I just hadn't felt right all day. I was dizzy, my stomach hurt, but I drank a lot of coffee, so I thought that was it because I was really tired that day. I had been experiencing a lot of fatigue. This won't close. I had been experiencing a lot of fatigue recently. But I kind of just, didn't think anything of it. Real quick, I'm going to take my makeup mist set and dampen my beauty blender. This is an e.l.f. beauty blender, and they are the softest in the world. I love them. So I hadn't been feeling good. My friend came in and she kept checking on me and asking me if I was okay, what's going on? You don't look good. And I was getting heart palpitations and everything else. I'm just gonna push this up a little bit to my hairline so I can get full coverage everywhere for when I put my wig on. I'm gonna use the Huda Beauty foundation, and I use shade Vanilla, which is 120B. I really like this foundation. I like how it applies, but I'm thinking I don't want to use a beauty blender for it. I want to use a brush. Okay, so I have good old Reliable here that is dirty as crap. It is my It Cosmetics Skin Perfecting Complexion Brush number 22. And it has this funny shape to it. I think you're supposed to use it with their one specific foundation. I don't know, but I love this brush because it gets everywhere. It needs cleaned. I gotta do that later. So anyways, I wasn't feeling good. When my relief got there, he likes to talk, but I said, I need to go. So I left and I came home and I just got so sick. I was throwing up. My heart was racing. I just felt awful. And so I called my doctor immediately the next morning because I was still having the palpitations and everything. And I said, I need to be seen. There is something going on with me. And he said, well, the staff said, absolutely, come in like an hour. So I did. I went in. They did an EKG on me. Everything looked fine, except my heart rate was fast. Duh. And then him and his nurse practitioner came in and said, we're going to draw some blood and see, what's going on. It might just be an infection that's making you super sick. We really don't know. I was like, great. After I use a brush, I like to go over with a beauty blender just to get the brush strokes away. So, living the dream. Got my blood taken, still feel like shit. So I go home. I get a phone call a couple hours later and they're like, Amanda, your white blood cells are absolutely through the roof. And if you don't know what that means that you have some sort of infection or something going on where your body's trying to fight it off. And I was like, okay, so what do you want me to do? And they said, we want you to go see a hematologist because this is just not normal. I was like, okay, let's do it. I need chapstick. So they sent me to the hematologist. This is the Shane and Jeffree Star chapstick, and it's the best. So I made an appointment with the hematologist, and it was like a week and a half out or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, what if something's really wrong with me? It's gonna take forever. So clearly was freaking out. I'm also going to use the Huda Beauty concealer. It's called the Overachiever Concealer, and I have shade Marshmallow, which is 02B. I really like this because it has like its own little applicator, so you can just kind of go with it. So I got a call from the hematologist's office that they had a cancellation and they wanted me to come in. So I guess that the doctor had looked at my blood work and he wanted to see me. Well, clearly I was terrified, so I called my aunt and I begged her to come with me. And she was like, absolutely. Good thing she was off. So my aunt came with me. We go. And he's like, well, you know, raised white blood cells can just be an infection, blah, 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 blah. And like, he kind of didn't seem all too worried at first. And then I said, well, I have this lump on my neck too. And his whole demeanor changed. And he immediately was like, oh. And he started feeling it. And like, it moved around pretty good. It's not like it was like, you know, stuck to anything or anything like that. But it, you know, it didn't hurt unless you like really pushed on it. But it was solid. And it did really, you know, pop out. So the doctor was like, we need you to go get some blood work, and I want you to get a COVID test, and I want you to get a chest CT. And I said, okay. So we scheduled the chest CT. No, I had to get an authorization for it. Never mind. So we were waiting for the authorization for the chest CT. I went and got my blood work, and I got my COVID test. So because I had to get a COVID test, I couldn't be at work for 2 days. Of course. So 2 days off work. The second day was Friday. They called me. They said my results were clear. I had to call HR and tell them I'm allowed to return to work. And they also called me Friday and told me that my D-dimer, which is your clotting levels in your blood, was high. So I was more at risk for a blood clot. The doctor called me and said that my D-dimer was high and he wanted me to go to the ER to get a stat chest CT. Well, I work in the ER, so I know all the doctors. So I go in, they get me in a room. One of the doctors I know very well comes in. He's like, what's going on? And I said, well, blah, 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 blah. I told him the whole story. And he said, all right, let me order this right away. I'm going to order it stat. I get the CT, come back to my room, and the doctor comes back in. He looks kind of concerned. And I said, you know, what's going on? I didn't like the look on his face. And he said, do you know about this mass on your chest? And I said, what? And I just like, I wasn't understanding what he was saying really. I think it was just all like so confusing to me. And I was like, do I have a blood clot? Is that what you're talking about? Like there's a blood clot? And he was like, no, there's no clots. He's like, the mass. And I was like, oh, this mass. And I left and I wasn't really understanding what he was saying, but I knew I didn't have a blood clot. And he was like, yeah, we're gonna send the results to your doctor like now. And I said, okay. So they sent the results to my doctor. I'm going to bake my under eyes with the e.l.f. HD powder. So I was, you know, not really getting it. And I kind of felt stupid now, looking back, that I wasn't getting it. To do this, I'm using the Morphe E4, is that an 8? That's an 8, E48. So I wasn't really getting it, you know, I felt stupid. now that I didn't get it. So, the fallout. So, I went home, and me and my family were leaving for our camp. My parents were already up there because my parents spend a majority of their summer at our camp because my dad's retired and my mom works remotely. So they spend a majority of our summer at our camp, except for the days my dad comes home to work his part-time job. So, you know, I mean, they were in the loop as to what was going on, but, you know, none of us knew how serious this was. We just kind of like were taking it as it came. So as I was leaving, I literally left my street, made a right, then a right, and the doctor called me. So I pulled over and I said, "Hey, what's going on?" And he said exactly what the ER doctor said. "You have a mass in your chest." And I still didn't get it. I don't know what I was missing when they were talking to me, but I wasn't understanding that there was a second mass other than this. And that's the moment he told me, "I believe you have Hodgkin's lymphoma." And my entire world stopped. And I didn't know what to do. I blacked out. I couldn't hear him talking. I said, "I'm sorry. You think I have cancer?" And he said, "Unfortunately, I believe you do." And then he told me his game plan, which was to admit me to one of the big downtown hospitals on Monday. So I was still going to camp. I needed a weekend to gather my mind and understand what was going on, and tell my parents and tell my loved ones and get it. So I called my mom and I said, "Get Dad." And I told them, and they cried and I cried. And I said, "I'm gonna call my aunt and tell her, and then we're gonna call everybody else when I get up there. Have a beer ready for me." So it's a 2-hour drive to my camp. I just blasted music the whole time and pet my dog. And it was the most overwhelming experience of my life. I will probably never have anything that lived up to that. It was bad. So when I got to my camp, we just all hugged each other and just cried. And then I started calling everybody. I called my best friend first, and she didn't even have words. But I will tell you what, that girl has been the most amazing rock that I could ever ask for. Her name's Mercedes, and Mercedes, I know you're gonna watch this. Thank you for everything you've done for me through this whole thing. I can't ask for anything else. And then I needed help telling one of our friends because I knew she was going to get upset. So Mercedes helped me call her. "Devin, I love you." Because I know you're going to watch this too. Telling everybody was really hard. And I cried almost with every phone call I made. I had such an overwhelming outpour of support from people I haven't talked to in years. And it was literally mind-blowing. Like, I can't describe it to you. Those people were amazing. And they still are. The reason this page is called Amanda's Army is because that's when I made my Facebook page. And they truly are my army. They pick me up when I'm feeling down. They are just amazing people. And I love every single one of you, if any of you are watching this. So, it's just magical. Magical people you are. I'm going to do the e.l.f. contour palette. I think it's the lightest one they have. I don't think there's a color on here. Light medium. And I'm using the Morphe E4. And I'm going to go between these two shades because this is too dark and this is too light. So we made the Amanda's Army page so I could keep people updated when I did go into the hospital. And it was just the easiest way. And then, you know, things started getting hard. I went into the hospital so they could just do all of my testing inpatient. Wow, that looks harsh. I need to blend that. I'm going to blend that with this big fluffy blendy brush, which is the Morphe M439. So, you know, we started, you know, just telling everybody what was going on while I was in the hospital. I did have a good weekend at camp, by the way. Just relaxing before I had to go in. And Sunday before I went into the hospital, a bunch of my friends came to see me and cried. But it was good. So, you know, before I got to the hospital on Monday, not really much happened Monday except for them hooking me up to a heart monitor because my heart rate was high, and them just... Okay, so this is the Tarte Big Ego brow pencil and gel. There's no color. Okay. I really like this because, well, especially with my eyebrows microbladed, it kind of like redoes the microbladed look, but it also fills them. So it's just, you know, one of these. So when I got admitted to the hospital, it was a little rough. Because no one was allowed to stay with me, and visiting hours were really strange. They were like 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. or something like that. And, you know, the hospital was like an hour away from my house, so my mom would just have to find things to do during that break, and I could only have one visitor the whole time I was in the hospital. I wasn't allowed to change visitors. So it was a mess. Because my dad wanted to see me so bad, and I felt awful because I wanted to see my dad too. So we basically lived off of FaceTime with everybody else, and it was really, really hard because the other times I've been in the hospital, you know, I've had everybody come see me, but nobody was allowed. So my mom, you know, would call everybody and tell them how I was doing and just, you know, try to keep everybody's spirits up for me. I'm just going to take a spoolie. This is the Morphe M158 and just brush through the brows real quick. Distribute that pencil. So she would, you know, update people like when I wasn't feeling good or I was sleeping. I slept a lot in the hospital because I was in a lot of pain, and it took them forever to get me pain management. And that was really irritating to me. But they finally did get me pain management, but it took a long time. They ended up moving me rooms on like my 4th night, and I went to the cancer floor that was non-monitored. So I finally got my heart monitor off, because every time I got up and went to the bathroom, I guess this is awful, I guess that it showed me in asystole. And I'm sorry I keep using medical terms, I'm an EMT, but asystole is dead, like flatline. So they would come running in my room while I was in the bathroom and like bust open the bathroom door, and I was like, hi, can you get out? And they were like, oh my god, it showed you dead. And I was like, not dead. That still makes me laugh. But everyone there was really nice. They took good care of me. I'm gonna take a little bit of my concealer and just clean up around my brows, because, you know, the spoolie messes that up. So I need my, I'm just gonna use my flat concealer brush, which is the Morphe M410, and just squeeze a little bit of my concealer out. So they did a lot of tests on me when I was down there, like my basically like my pre-chemo tests if I would need it. Did. So they did my initial PET scan. They did biopsies. Well, let me tell you, the first biopsy they did was on my chest mass. That was the worst experience of my life, because I was awake. And they were supposed to twilight me, okay? Yeah, they didn't twilight me enough. And I'm sitting there talking to the doctor, and I'm like, bro, this hurts. And he's like, oh, well, it's gonna be a little uncomfortable. And I'm like, no, bro, like, I feel you digging in my chest. And they finally gave me more drugs after I started screaming because it hurt so bad. And then I got back up to my room, and my mom said that I was lit. I was lit. I'm saying things off the wall. I'm like, I was high. I was so high. That was probably my only positive experience in the hospital. Then I had to have the biopsy of this, which I was down in pre-op forever. And when I was down there, someone coded, which means they went into cardiac arrest. And I was like, oh, great, I'm gonna die. So I don't remember any of that clearly, because I was put under, because this is by my carotid artery. So they did it. They got it done. Whatever. Yay. Woohoo. Yippee. I'm so positive. I'm going to use from the Huda Beauty 3D highlighter palette this Ibiza as my blush. Blush, blush, blush. Where's my blush brush? Okay. See, this is the thing. I have all these Morphe brushes that I know they have their own uses and whatever. I don't care about that. If it looks like it's gonna work, I'm gonna use it. So judge me if you want. I don't care. This is the Morphe M405. So when my biopsy results came back, the oncologist, who was my oncologist at the hospital, came in, sat me down, and said, you have Hodgkin's. And I didn't know what to say. They didn't do my first chemo there. Ooh, look at that. Dang, I love you, Huda. They didn't do my first chemo there. They let me go back to my hematologist slash oncologist and get my treatment with him. So I got an appointment with him for like the next day, 2 days, whatever. When I got out of the hospital, we discussed everything, and we got my port put in, which is right here, and it sticks out really bad. That is my scar. It didn't want to heal, so it's really noticeable. And my port bothers me every day. It hurts really bad, and it's not fun. I'm completely ruining this video by showing you the look, but I had a major malfunction with my highlighters, and I ended up using the Huda palette again. Sorry. Santorini. Oh, that's there. I like highlight way too much. Okay. I'm just gonna take this blendy brush and just... All right, so got my part put in, got my chemo scheduled, started chemo. I am on ABVD, and I was originally scheduled for 12. We downed that to 8 because after 4, I showed complete... I don't want to say remission. I almost said remission. I showed complete... My cancer was gone. My scans were clear. My second PET scan was completely clear. But per protocol, we finished treatment, and they wanted to schedule me now for radiation because they believed that it was going to make sure that everything was gone because I had bulky disease. My initial diagnosis was Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage 2A, unfavorable, bulky. That's a mouthful, isn't it? So, you know, lots of not fun stuff, but here we are. I have 2 chemos left, and I've never been more excited to... Sorry, my mom just yelled at my dog because he's barking at the mailman. I've never been more excited to just be done with this. I'm going to use this big old chunky brush to contour my nose. It's the M173. I've never been more excited to be done with something in my life because chemo takes the life out of you, literally. It is awful. It is terrible. I don't know what else to say. When I get home from chemo, I am a wreck. I feel like I got hit by a bus. I'll do nothing but lay in my bed for probably 3 days, maybe 4 after. I get up only to use the bathroom, and I literally need help walking sometimes. I'm a disaster. I can't function. I can't think. Chemo brain is real, people. Like, if you know someone who is on chemo or has been on chemo, because this affects people for years after, we just can't think straight. we forget things and then remember it like forever later. And it's probably the most annoying thing, because I'll be sitting there and then, like, I forget something. Okay, let's say I forget. My skin never did this before either. Do you see that? Never. Mold now. 28, and now I got wrinkly skin. So let's say like I'm having a conversation with someone and I can't think of something. I will literally remember it like 4 days later and randomly text it to them. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, our conversation the other day when I couldn't remember something. And they're like, wow, okay. It's real. And it's awful. And anyone who has had cancer will agree with me. And chemo. My mom laughs at me because I will literally all the time just say chemo brain. If I forget something, chemo brain. She laughs. Like, I'll forget someone's name and it's awful. And I go, chemo brain. But at least I can make fun of myself now. So that's good. That makes your lip powder look a little better. And then you get a little bit of your highlight. Look at that. My lips look bigger. Eyes are next, aren't they? I don't know what palette I want to use because I have so many. It's really been a Huda and Elf day, isn't it? So let's just stick to Huda. We're going to use the Mercury Retrograde palette. And this palette is gorgeous. Sorry about the light. Gorgeous. Look at that, baby. Look at it. Oh, and these glitters, I'm telling you what, I have never experienced glitters like these. Huda, you know what you're doing, girl. So, whew, I just got to figure out what kind of a look I'm going to do because I'm wearing a black sweater, so I can do anything. Morphe M433. I'm going to go in with Crash right here as my transition. So, chemo sucks. All of the testing you have to get sucks. Everything about cancer sucks. But to be on the plus side, I joined a group when I was diagnosed. I met this girl who also lives in Pennsylvania, and surprise, surprise, she goes to my hospital for treatment. And talking with her has like made me so happy because I just have someone to like vent to. Like, man, this week's chemo was hard. She has the exact same cancer as me. She's on the exact same regimen as me. She's gonna go through radiation too. So it's really nice to talk to her because she's just like a week ahead of me on everything. So it's nice to, have that person that you can really share with and just complain to, or, really just bounce things off of. Her last chemo was tomorrow, and I actually was sick one day, so I got switched to Wednesdays, and so now we have chemo together, and it's really nice because they know we're friends, and they like let us sit together. Well, not together, but like across from each other, and it's cool. My dog's barking again, and I'm sorry, But it's really nice because it's nice to just have somebody, you know, like having that person that you can just talk to during chemo or just sit silently across from, but you know that they're there for you if you need them, is amazing. And that's her. Her name's Chelsea. I love you, Chelsea. You're my girl. I think I'm going to do a gold look. I never do gold. So I'm going to get another fluffy brush, M441, and I'm going to go into this vortex on the outer corner, and then I'm going to do gold coming in. Yeah. I had to think about that for a second. So, you know, it's like, without a support system, this is hard. And I don't know how people work and go through chemo at the same time. Like, you're strong, man. You're very strong. My sincere see, chemo brain, I just forgot what I was gonna say. You're strong and you're a badass. And that's that. I'm gonna grab another one of the M441s that's clean and just blend. But it's crazy. Like, I seriously don't know how these people do it. They work, they have a family, they are just the most badass people I've ever met. Hodgkin's is a young person's disease, you know, that's what they say. More young people get it than older people. It's the most treatable cancer. Blah, blah, blah. Nobody wants cancer. I'm gonna use this gold glitch right here. Hang on, let me get it. Right here, because it has purple flecks in it, and I did purple. So, you know, it's just like, I don't understand how no one knows why people get Hodgkin's. No one. And I gotta get closer. And there's so many, you know, oh, well, it's caused by this, and it's caused by this, and it's caused by this. And you see commercials on TV. Well, Roundup, that's why. And there's commercials and saying like, oh, if you take this medication, there's a cause of lymphoma. Well, it'd be nice if they told you that before they prescribed you it. So I'll tell you what, I've been on like 30 medications for migraines, and never once have I been told side effects for them. That's irritating. I'm gonna get a little schmoka brush. I feel like Bailey Sarian because how I just said that. Smoking a pancake. I love her so much. I just go under my eye. That's too much. Oh boy, I need to blend that. All right, now let me get my clean. Well, it's not clean anymore. I just blend. This is really hard with contacts in. And remember, you can always clean it up underneath your eyes. Always. I love these glitters though, because you don't have to add any water to them. You don't have to wet them. They're fantastic. Just like, all right, I'm gonna grab one with my finger. They're fantastic. And it has a mirror. Oh. If there's any guys watching this, they probably left by now because they're like, who wants to watch Amanda do her makeup? All right. Now, is the fun part when I put my magnetic lashes on. As soon as I find my... Oh, no wait, I forgot my waterline. I always put white on my waterline because they say it makes your eyes look bigger. And I always make my eyes like tiny because I put too much dark makeup on it. I blame my scene days. And I didn't put anything on my... I forgot a highlighter on my brow bone. I use my fingers way too much. Well, I even have makeup brushes. Okay, so yeah, I've been having a rough time with chemo, and there's days where it absolutely is the worst thing in the world, but there's also days where it's not that bad. I'm lying. It's always bad. Like, I seriously want to scream some days about how bad it is. And cry and run away. This is my big makeup bag. It drives you insane. Literally. And figuratively. I found my moisturizer. So, I think magnetic lashes are the coolest thing on the face of the planet because they just boop and they're there. Let's see which ones I want to put on. I don't want anything too crazy with this look. I have Glamnetic and I have Moxie Lash. So far, I've only worn the Live-In Lash from Glamnetic, and I think they're beautiful. They're just like a really good everyday lash. I'll round up. I don't feel like doing it. We're gonna do Moxie Lash today. So this is the natural kit from Moxie Lash. Let me get it open. So there's like a baby one, a mid-size one, and a big one. Clearly we're gonna do a big one. But I am using the Glamnetic liquid liner because I can't do these liners anymore. The liner that comes with the Moxie Lash is one of these, and I physically can't do it anymore. This is what I used in like middle school and high school, and then I was introduced to felt tip liners, and yeah, I can't do it anymore. So this is literally just like a normal felt tip liner where you just it's so nice. So nice. I love it. So simple. But then you gotta make it even on the other side. So yet another problem. The Glamnetic liner and the Moxie lashes did not want to work well together. So here is where I explain what I did. So what I did was take a layer of the Moxie Lash liner that I hate. And I put it on to see if I can get these to stick better. Because, you know, trial and error. Okay, I finally got the lashes on. Took a lifetime. So they're on. Now what I'm gonna do is take my roller lash mascara and just put a little coat on the lashes I do have. Real gentle. Just to make it so there's nothing like non-colored under there. And I'm also going to do my lower lashes. Just to get them coated. Okay, now all I need is a lip. I have this Huda Beauty little cute lip contour and liquid matte in Bombshell and demi matte in Mobile. It's the matte and cream lip set. Clearly, I've never opened it. So we're gonna go in first with the lip contour. Oops. I always go for colors like this. Every lipstick I have. Can't buy other colors. I wish I could. But I don't know how. Okay, we're gonna use the liquid matte. In Bombshell. Oh, my lips are so dry. Thanks, Kima. I love a liquid matte lipstick. All right. Let me go get my wig and we'll show you the final result. And voila! Final result. I need to name my wig. Haven't thought of anything yet. The only thing I've come up with is Queen Elizabeth because I watched The Crown and I'm obsessed. So if you have any ideas, drop it in the comments. I want to thank everybody again for their support. You guys have been amazing. Without you, I don't know what I would have done. Oh, I forgot to set my face. That would have been bad. I use e.l.f.'s Makeup Mist and Set. And just go for it. Boom. There we go. Now we're done. Even though my face is soaking wet, it'll dry. So, thank you guys so much for everything. I don't know what I would have done without all of your support throughout my journey and for the rest of my journey. You're all amazing. You're all the best. And keep watching out for my videos because I want to help other people. That's always been my passion in life. And if I can help others go through things that I went through, then that'll be awesome. There's also going to be content related to Amanda's Army. So any kind of fundraiser we do, I'll take videos and make a video out of it. You know, we're hoping to have a fundraiser in the spring. Even though I will be done with all my treatments, there's still medical bills and they suck. I do want to give a big shout out to Glenn and Stacy Wagner, who hosted the pancake breakfasts for Brenda and I. That was the most amazing, selfless thing to do, and you guys are amazing. Makes me want to cry thinking about it because that money is going to help a lot. I also want to thank everybody who's donated to me, and everybody who's just sent warm wishes, prayers, everything. You guys are the best. I can't wait to get back to doing my firefighting and EMT stuff with Blaine Hill because, as most of you know, that's my passion. And I love it. And I can't wait to get back to my job. I miss my coworkers so much. And I love you all. Thank you so much for everything. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.